Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get it started then. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Bojan Petreski. Today is February 2nd, 2022. 2222. That's gotta mean something in the markets, right? We'll see. We'll see what the day brings in front of us. The disclaimer is there for your use and your understanding that this is for educational and instructional purposes only. Trading itself involves risk. I think you wouldn't be here if it didn't. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the agenda for today. We're going to look at the current market environment, trade review, close trades. We haven't been here for a while, so all the trades that we've had from before are basically last year's trades. And given the fact that I'm on my laptop, I actually don't have those screenshots. I should start saving them on Google Drive rather than my desktop. And we're going to look for new opportunities essentially as of today. So as the title says it, today is nailing FX and crypto. If you have any, if you have any preferred markets that you want me to look at, if you have any pairs or cryptocurrencies that you want me to look at, please feel free to type it in the chat. If not, I'm just going to do I'm going to go through my analysis of how I typically trade crypto and Forex, and then we'll go from there. Just gonna give me 1 second. It's not popping it up. Okay, that's fine. All right, so this trade that I actually have here is from a previous session that's from our channel, Trade with UFOs. I'm just going to share that in the chat in case you are interested. That's the link. This was a trade that I was looking to go long on. However, as I'll explain and as you'll understand later, the climate has changed. As you see down here below, let me just go ahead and that real quick. Just 1 second, folks. It's a little hard to show you what I'm looking at when you can't see it yourself, right? Give me 1 second, please. It refreshes the screen when I put this on. All right, we're all good now. I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Yep, you should be good to go. And then, yep, I have my pointer tool. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is it's hard to show you just with the mouse pointer. I mean, I'm sure you see it, but it's easier to show when you have something easy like this. So, as I was saying, down below is where we have our market climate. That's this bottom window here. That's typically used with a larger time frame, something like a daily, a 4-hour, or an hourly, depending on the market that you're trading, right? A daily, I think, gives you a pretty good picture. The 4-hour gives you a decent picture for an intraday or a swing trade. And then the hourly is most likely going to be either a scalp or a day trade. And that's why we utilize the auto climate on those, let's call them typical, or as we call them in our UFO channel, common timeframes, right? Everybody has that time frame on their platform. Everybody can see it on a phone, on a tablet, on a laptop, anywhere. It's very common, right? Then what we see is down here, we utilize our auto climate to give us the directionality of the current market that we're looking at. So as of right now, we see that on the dollar yen pair on the daily time frame, as you see there, 1 day, the market climate is a red climate. It's a down confirmed climate because it's a thick dot. As I'll zoom in here so you can see, it's a thick red dot, right? The thick blue dot means it's a confirmed up climate. A thin dot, like you see on the one here, or on the one here, the 2, 3 here, that just means that the climate is not confirmed. So when something's not confirmed, that means the odds are a little bit, either against you or just not in your favor. So what do you do when the odds are against you and not in your favor? Well, you simply sit on your hands. You don't do anything. That's all it is to it. So as of right now, we see that on the daily, we have a thick red dot, meaning that this is a confirmed down climate. That means that on this particular setup on the daily, with the less common time frame, as you see over here, the 55-minute time frame, 55, 21, and 8, that are the three time frames here, are the three uncommon time frames, or as we call them, edge time frames, because they give us an edge. Why do they give us an edge? Well, they're a little bit more sensitive to the auto UFOs, and also they may paint a different picture than what everybody else is seeing, which should give us an edge when it comes to our entries and exits, right? So looking at these three different time frames, match with each one of these gets matched differently. So for example, the 8-minute we utilize with the hourly, okay? The 21-minute we utilize with the 4-hour. And then the 55-minute we utilize with the daily. Now, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, there's also range timeframes that can be utilized on TradingView. Different platforms also have this, availability as well. These ranges can also be matched up with each one of these correspondingly. However, for now, we're just going to be using the 8 with the hour, 21 with the 4, 55 with the daily. All right. So now that we know that this is our common time frame, we're looking for short opportunities on this market. But that's we answered the question of which direction should we be looking at. So we know should we be trading, yes or no, right? The answer is yes, we should be trading. So what type of trades should we be looking for? Well, we should be looking for short opportunities. Okay, great. So where do we enter? Where do we exit? Where do we take our profits? Is the next question that you need to answer. Because think of it this way, you're in front of the computer. You shouldn't be trading just because you're in front of the computer. You should be trading because the markets that you're looking at are giving you a reason to trade. So as of right now, this market is telling us, okay, look for short opportunities. Okay, great. Where? The question of where gets answered with the following scenario. You see in this blue box here, it says 114,679. That's this 9 exponential moving average that you see here, the thin blue line. That's what that is representing. It's saying that, hey, it's right here at 114,679. That's where the 9 exponential moving average is on this daily time frame. So what do? We take this number, 114,679, and we try to see if there's by any chance a UFO, a red UFO preferably, right, that would give us an opportunity to go in there. So as we said, 114,679. Do we have a UFO at 114,679? So that's right here, right? The answer is no, we don't. So what do? Well, we don't have a trade. That's how simple it was to answer the where or when. All the W's that you have to answer for a trade, we just answered. Like, we should be looking for trades, but do we have a trade? No, we don't. So we do not have a UFO here, so therefore we cannot enter into this market short. Now, I've, why is this not? There it is. So now as you see here, I have a setup from before. Now, this one I can tell you for a fact that it's definitely not been set up on the 55-minute with a daily. So let's go drill down to the 4-hour and the 21-minute. And there it is, actually. So basically, I think this one was from, I want to say 2 weeks ago. Or actually, no, less than 2 weeks ago. It might have been last week. I was looking to go long on the dollar-yen pair. And 114 was my entry because 114 down here is actually, there's 2 UFOs down here. Okay? So 114 even was going to be my entry. 114 23 was going to be my T1. Or if I'm wrong, 113.77 was going to be my stop. My final target, 115.90. Oh, 9, sorry. Now, this does seem like the time frame I did set it up on. The interesting part is that I usually add expiration to these, so if it doesn't get filled within a certain period of time, it should get canceled. So I'm a little surprised that it's not canceled. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel it now. Why am I canceling it? You could answer it in the chat for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Why am I canceling a long trade in this current market environment? All right, there's got to be a reason why I need to cancel this trade. You should also never cancel trades just because you think it's not going to work, or because there's a giant, extended range candle moving up against you, right? Like, for example, if this was a giant red candle dropping down, I wouldn't cancel this trade if the climate was still confirmed in my side. As of right now, though, it is not. As you see, the climate is a confirmed down climate, even though it's really extended, as you see right here. I'm just going to zoom it in a little bit better. As you see, it's currently going down for 13 55-minute increments. I'm sorry, 13, this should be 4 hour, yeah. Sorry, 13 4-hour increments that it's been going down for. Okay, and that just means right here, you see this is the current 13, and the standard amount that this goes down for is 4.25. Okay, so 4.25, you always round it up when it comes to the climate because you want to give it as much time to work as you can. This is going more than almost triple the amount of time that it goes down for. That's where it is currently in the market. So in other words, this is kind of answering a really important question when it comes to trend, right? We've all heard the saying, trend is your friend, but it'll bend in the end. Well, this is answering of, when is that end happening? Like, am I in the middle of it? Am I at the beginning of it? Am I too late? And should I be maybe looking for something else? Right? So this is definitely at its end, right? It's extremely overextended. So much so that, this is one of the things that's kind of been food for thought on my end is if I see this kind of a confirmed climate and it's overextended, should I be okay with taking entries on these long trades? Because ultimately this is overextended, right? So we just need a good setup to get in on when the setup is correct, right? Where we have UFOs, the 90 MA, and the whole nine. Right now, that's not the case, so we're going to go ahead and cancel our trade. So nothing to do here. That trade is canceled. Now, do we have a potential entry here? We do not. As I said, the climate is overextended. Let's go down to the hourly, the 8-minute, and see how that's looking. Very similar. The 8th hourly candle down out of typically 5. Okay, so nothing to do here as well. And just like that, we fully analyzed the dollar again. We applied the same methodology, the same analysis on the rest of these pairs until we can find a trade that makes sense. All right, so this one, as we see on the hourly, unconfirmed, nothing to do. On the 4-hour, extended, nothing to do here. On the daily, the first down climate. Okay, so this looks interesting. Have you guys followed me so far? Is it pretty easy to follow? You want me to slow down a little bit, speed up, or just kind of get going? What do you think? I understand that sometimes, you see this stuff and it may be a little confusing, given the fact that it's, it's kind of like a whole system, so to speak, right? You have a climate, you have another indicator, like two indicators essentially are at play here. Number one, the auto UFOs, number two, the auto climate, and then a 9 exponential moving average. So 3 in total. It's just a matter of aligning them all and then answering any questions that you may have, any unclear, any gray areas that you may have. So that's what it comes down to. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. If you have any questions or if anything at all, please feel free to type it in the chat. I just realized, yep, here it is in the Q&A. I just forgot to open the Q&A window, and I always forget. Okay, so Ilya, okay, perfect. Where are you from, buddy? I'm sure you're from my side of the world. Okay, perfect. So you're following along. That's great. That's great. Bulgaria, of course you're from Bulgaria, because I'm from Macedonia, right? We're neighbors. Okay, let's go ahead and get started now. With this analysis, so we have right here, as I said, first confirmed down climate right there. First down climate, so we're good with that. Now, what's the next question we should be asking ourselves, right? Where am I getting in? Oops. That question gets answered by looking at this moving average here, right? That tells us, hey, look for entries around this area here, okay? So 92.22. 92.22 is our potential entry. I wish I had better news for you, but it looks like we don't have an entry there because there's no UFO there. So 92.22 is right here in this area here, as you see. 92.22, there's nothing here. There may have been something here, but it might have gotten filled based on this wick here, this wick here. But as of right now, we simply, Barcelona too, wonderful. I was in Barcelona in 2019 before COVID hit. Loved it there. That was absolutely some of the best time we had. Yeah, so we don't have a UFO, folks. What do? Right? Do we try to force something? No. Oh. There's gonna be a trade, folks. You just keep doing this, for example, every 4 hours or every hour if you really want to, and just update the charts just to see where things are moving, and that's it. Then you go in. So let's look at the British pound. Let's take a look at the British pound. On the daily, first confirmed up. Here we go. On the 55-minute, okay, we're bound to have a trade here. 135.04. We do not. Man, we're striking out here, folks. Let's see. 35.046. 35.046 is right here, right now. So even if this market were to take a sharp turn down to fill in this moving average exponential, it's just, there's nothing there. So let's keep moving. Let's go down to the 4 hour. 4 hours overextended. Hourly, same thing. Next. All right, so here we go. On the hourly, we're on the 5th hour up. This is like, this could be a trade. Let's see. All right, so here we go on the New Zealand USD. We're on the 5th hour. That's what I don't like. We're at the end of it, essentially. As you see, the 5th candle. Let me zoom it in again. As you see, it's the 5th one out of typically 5.4, which is 6, right? So we would have essentially an hour and 40 minutes for this trade to work out. If it doesn't give us at least T1, then we have to close it at market for whatever it is at. Now, moving average is at 66,423. 66,423 is literally too close there. So unfortunately, this one doesn't work either. Okay, that's fine. 4 hour overextended, daily overextended. Off to the next one. Aussie, unconfirmed on the daily, overextended on the 4 hour, unconfirmed on the hourly. Let's look at the major. 7th out of typically 6 on the hourly, 15 on the All right, first confirmed up. Wow, look at that move. Holy cow. Was I in a long on this? I think I had a long time ago. I set up a trade on Euro USD. I gotta check if it filled on mine. So let's see what we have here with the this is the daily and the 55-minute. So we may have something here. 12,679 is the moving average. Per price is at 113 or 134. So if price were to fall down to 12,680, that's right here, do we think it's going to still be within this UFO? Kind of hard to say, but actually, I'm sorry, no, that's incorrect. This UFO goes all the way down to here. So the entry would be, where's my, that's where it is. So if we were to look for a long position, this is what it would look like, something like this. Our stop would need to be below this UFO. Just to be safer though, because I'm going to explain now exactly how stop placement works, it's going to look something like this. All right, so this should be to one is, so, yep. All right, now I'm gonna explain the entries and everything like that, so let's go for it. So this is the daily, and as you see, it's the first one that it's been, so the first one out of 5 days. So we have, including today, 5 days for this trade to work out. Now, if we're being, very honest, right, today is the Wednesday. We have 3 days until the weekend. A lot of things happen over the weekend that could affect this, including the fact that there's news coming out. If we look at FX Street calendar, there's an interest rate decision coming out on Friday. So that's something that you also need to take into account. I'm sorry, on Thursday. It's coming out tomorrow. So if there's any surprise to this, this could definitely move the markets in a weird direction. If they say something weird at the press conference, could also move the markets in a crazy direction. That, shouldn't be the reason why we trade. That should be a catalyst to our trades, meaning it should move them in the direction that we think it's going to go. So those couple of things, make me want to definitely take this trade. So let's go ahead and set it up. So this is right here, the UFO. This is the, just going to draw it for you just so it's a little clearer. So because it can get a little confusing when you're first looking at these. So this is the UFO that we're essentially taking, right? So that's the UFO. It is starting at 12,576. So let's go ahead and get that trade set up. So Irakli, yes, for the 55-minute, this is my edge time frame. I mentioned that earlier. It's because it's a little bit more sensitive to our auto UFOs rather than the hourly, right? The hourly everybody looks at, and we use the hourly on the common time frame, right? So the common time frame, you see here, I do have the hourly. However, what I explained earlier is we use the 8-minute with the hourly common time frame, the 21-minute edge time frame with the 4-hour common time frame, and the 55-minute edge time frame with the daily common time frame. So that's how these are related. So we do use the hourly, but for the edge, for our entries, we use the 55-minute because we've also back tested this, and it's just a little bit more sensitive to the software that we use, which is the trade with UFOs. So hope that answers the question. Let me go ahead and set this up. So we're buying it. We're going to say at 1.12576. I typically round this up, so we're going to go at 8 and take profit, stop loss. Where do we put our stop losses? So I'm going to encompass this UFO below here as well, because what you typically do is you give it another 5 pips below the bottom of this UFO. So you round it down. So this will be 1230, 1.1234. And when I subtract 34, sorry, losing my voice again, 34 minus 5, right, is 29. So that that is like right, it's right on this UFO, right on top of it. So what I'll do is, just to give myself a little bit more of a wiggle room, I'm going to include it in here. So I'm going to go 5 pips below this bottom one. So that's this one right here. Right? So I'm going to go 5 pips below that one. Because remember, Forex is decentralized, right? It's not a centralized exchange that gives you the price information. So for example, what I'm receiving from here is from Moanda, right? If you're trading it, from somewhere else, from New Zealand, you might be getting it from LCM or from, FX, FX book. There's just so many Forex brokers that they are the liquidity providers. They're the ones that, not really the liquidity provider, but they're the ones that are providing the price from their own liquidity providers. So that's how that works. So not all of us have the exact same pip information, nor spread. As you see right now, it says it's 1.2 here, which is, kind of large if you ask me. When it comes to the Euro USD, there's Forex brokers out there that'll have like a 0.2 spread on Euro USD because it's the most liquid pair. But anyways, so let's go ahead and set this up. As you said, 1258 is our entry. Our first T1 is going to be a 1-to-1, but first let's set up our stop loss. So stop loss is going to be at, let's just type it out, 112.21. All right, that's the bottom of this UFO. As you see here, that's the value that corresponds to this one, right? So 12.21. That's already rounded down. And now from this 21, I'm going to take away 5 pips. So that's going to be 16. So I'm risking 42 pips. And 42 pips is going to be my T1. Now, why is my T1 a 1-to-1? Number one, it's really good to take something off the table when things are moving your way. Number two, it's a really relieving feeling when you know that once you hit T1, you start to not care what the trade does. You're no longer attached to it, so to speak. So once you get that 1-to-1, it's really just relieving to know that, hey, I am no longer at risk with this trade. Like, unless something massive happens in the world and you have incredible slippage, then you'll lose some money. But given the fact that, if things are normal like they are supposedly normal right now, this, let's say something like this happens, right? This price action follows something like this. Okay, it fills us right there, right? And then it just rockets on up to our T1, right? Boom, you got T1. And then something else happens, like some news comes down and just goes straight down, straight to your stop, right? Because our stop is right here. So what happened there? Well, nothing. You didn't make money. You didn't lose money. You just paid a participation ticket for the market. That's all it was. You paid to participate, and that's it. You didn't make money. You didn't lose money. It's a nice feeling. It's not bad. So that's that. Now, as I was saying, right, the expiration time, because I always put this, the time in force. I really like that about TradingView. So what you end up doing is you're going to go good till date. So we said this is the first day. This is the first day up out of typically 5, right? So we have all of today, Thursday, Friday, that's 3 days, Monday, Tuesday. So if this trade does not work out by the 8th of February, let's call it by the 8th of February. And let's call it, I don't know, by, let's just say by 3 o'clock Eastern. Okay, if this trade doesn't work out by then, we're going to let it expire. All right, so we're going to set it to expire on the 8th of February by 3 p.m. Set that, buy it, trades placed, except the fact that I messed up the quantity. So let's change the quantity. We want to risk 150 bucks, let's say. All right. So that's our first leg of the trade. Now let's set the second leg of the trade, which will be where is our final target, right? Where is the point where we're going to make some money? All right, well, let's go ahead and set the entry. We said 1258 is our entry. Take profit, stop loss remains the same. The take profit is where things get a little interesting. So there's two methods of obviously, taking profits, right? One is a trail stop and the other is, a final target. We utilize a final target with a trail stop. So how do we do that? Well, the thing that we do right now is we go back to this daily time frame, the common time frame, and we see, hey, where is there a location where people are selling? Where do we think there's still some sellers, right? Because we're going long. In other words, where's the first opposing UFO on the common time frame, on the daily time frame right now? As we see, it's right here, 113,918. So that's where we're going to take our profits from. We're going to go put this here as a 1.13918. We're going to round it down to 91. Okay, so that means this is a, this is a 3-to-1 plus the 1-to-1. So we're looking at about a 1.2, so a 2-to-1 trade, risk to ratio. All right, same thing, 150 buck risk, buy that. It's set. I was like, wait a minute, it's not, but it is. And that's that. That's the trade. That's the setup. That's the analysis. And one last thing that we need to do before we forget, right, is always to take a screenshot. Because then how else are you going to be able to analyze this stuff? This is what I was looking at this point of time. And I'm sorry, one thing that I forgot to do is to make it easier for myself to hunt these things down. Because sometimes you do like 5, 6, 7 instruments analysis, and then you forgot which time frame was it on, when did I do this and that. So I just usually put a vertical line to know that it was on this exact candle that I did this analysis on. So you can go ahead and screenshot that. 2022 0202, and this is Euro USD daily setup. That's that. We got our first trade on the pairs. Does anybody have any other questions, or anybody want to look at any cryptocurrency before I just dive into the regular ones that I typically look at, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then go down to DOT, XRP, ADA, and so on. Just looking out for the chat while I keep searching. So it looks like we're still selling off on Bitcoin right now. We are unconfirmed on the daily. Excuse me for 1 second. And we're back. All right, so looking at Bitcoin, as you see, we're selling off quite hard right now. We've dropped just by the time we started this session, we've dropped 1.5% on Bitcoin. So we were at the mid 38,000s. Right now we're below 38. So that's a pretty bearish engulfment there. On the day we have an unconfirmed climate, so let's go down to the 4-hour. See how that's looking? All right, that's looking confirmed up. However, as you see, that's immediately going to be invalidated because of the fact that it's already trading below the EMA. On the hourly, we are confirmed down. All right, so this may start as a good setup here, 38.3. So if this were to move up, do we see this area 38.5 as a potential entry? And I would say yes, given the fact how Bitcoin moves. If this were to revert down, as you see, it's eliminated. It's trading below this low here at 37,974. It's probably going to find some buyers in this area here, and then find some real buyers down here. So if by any chance this could pull back and make a new and you know, stay below the low, stay below the high, that would be the perfect setup scenario. So I don't think this will fill, but it meets the criteria to put an entry in here. So let's go ahead and do that. So this does meet the criteria to get an entry in here. So we're going to go in at 38,590. And our stop loss is going to be above 38,834.18 is what it is. I always round it down and give it another 20 bucks. This will be 54. All right, same amount of ticks will be the T1. And we're going to risk 150. And for this one, it's definitely not going to, it's just going to be good for the day. All right, start now for the final target. Because it's currently touching this UFO, I'm actually going to skip it, and that's in our rule. It's not just on a whim type of thing. So our target will be 37.4. So we're going to sell the same thing as we said, 38,590. And we're going to do take profit. Stop loss remains the same. However, our final target is going to be 37,400. That's 4.5 plus the 1-to-1. When you split it down the middle, it comes down to like what, 3.25, I think, to 1, so 3-to-1. And we're going to sell that too. All right. Well, what's the last thing that we do before we move on or forget about this? Well, go horizontal. Put on the short position so you know when it fills, how it fills, and so on. So if this gets to fill there, there's about that one. So you know, like, okay, this is what I was looking at this point of time. And then go ahead and screenshot it. Save it. So 2022-0202. And this is BTC. And we're looking at the 1 hour setup. Oh, all done. All right. Same type of approach, same type of scenario. Just, rinse and repeat. But most important of all is documentation and seeing how these things work to kind of, to basically persuade yourself that, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is why it's working. I'm doing this, this, and this, and this is how I'm documenting it. And this is, at the end of the month, at the end of every week, whatever you want the frequency to be, depending on how you're trading. You analyze it and you approach it and you say, okay, this is working, this isn't working. All right. Okay. Let's see. Everything's gonna look pretty much the same because usually when they sell off, especially, they usually just go tandem in hand. Yeah. As you see, everything's pretty much in the red. Do we have? Yeah, we do have a couple of them in the green that might still be trying to fight us. Still trying to fight to get in or get out. So let's take a look at Tron. Seems like it's still technically up, even though it's selling off right now. 06075. That's right here, man. Missing it for just a little bit here. Otherwise, this would have been a really low risk trade. 06, 09, so you could go short here. But the moving average is just a little too low. So unfortunately, we can't catch it. Let's take a look at DOT. Already moved too fast. But still, whoa. This is still on an upward move. This is still on an up move. Yoda. Okay, this is starting to fall down, but still swinging up. Still confirmed up. Extended. This one just started selling off. Okay. So, moving average at 0.997 dollar even is where the UFO is. Not a confirmed climate though. Yeah, so we're just browsing to see if there's any opportunities for us. If there's still, again, if there's any question, any comment, anything you guys want to go over, please feel free to type it in the chat. I'll be more than glad to take a look at it. Or if you have a request to go over any of these cryptocurrencies, let me know. This is all looking more or less the same. How's the DeFi doing? Same thing. Okay, this one's a confirmed down climate. 1705 is the current moving average. It's already selling off nicely. If it does bounce, 1705 is here, right? It's in the UFO. However, remember the moving average moves, right? Hence the name, moving average. So if this were to pull back hard, it's not going to be within the UFO. So we're going to skip on it. Theta. And I wish we switched to crypto like 15 minutes ago. We probably would have caught some of this stuff. $52.66. 77. Okay, this one is definitely looking. If this pulls back, yeah. Okay, so this one we'll set up before we terminate the session, before we stop for today. So we're gonna set this one up. We're gonna sell the 5309 there. We're gonna take a stop loss if it goes above 50, 53, 80, so 54. 20 cents, $20, whatever is the approachable amount there. 90 to 91, risking 150. This one, same thing, we'll leave it to be good for the day. And sell that. All right, now for our final target, obviously this one is already touched. So this one down here at 50 even is where our final target will be. So 5309. Take profit, stop loss remains the same. Take profit, we're going to take it all the way down to 5006. Same thing, good for the day. There it is. So if this were to pull back, this has a pretty good likelihood of filling. Screen. This is something new that I incorporated, which is why I constantly forget it, but it just makes it easier for me to find my trades afterwards. Okay. We'll save that as well. 0202, we're looking at AXS, which is X's 1 hour setup. All right. That's that. Let me just see. So that's that for today, folks. I don't see any questions in the chat, so we're going to go ahead and close the session for today. Hope you found this helpful. I'm just going to share my link. Sorry, yeah. tradewithyourhost.com/Bojan. And then my email is bojan@tradictive.com. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to chat about, please feel free to send it over. Alrighty. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day.